In this video, you're going to learn the secrets of how to build your very own demon back, just like the ones we see on the legendary Baki and Yujiro Hanma in the anime Baki The Grappler. Now, this isn't going to be like every other demon back guide that I see on YouTube, where they pretty much just say, do a bunch of pull-ups and deadlifts, and that's it. No, I'm going to be giving you a full scientific breakdown of exactly how you need to be programming, recovering, eating, and of course training to build that demonic posterior. And at the end of the video, I'll be giving you a fully detailed, free, 8-week demon back training plan based off the information that we'll be covering in this video. Now, if you're going to build a demon back, the first step has to be understanding the demon back. The demon back is like a fleshy version of going Super Saiyan, and it's a power that's passed down to select members of the Hanma bloodline. To activate this power, the wielder forcefully flexes their back muscles until the muscles morph into the form of a demonic face. And once this power is activated, the user's strength becomes greatly amplified for a short period of time. Now everyone, put on your glasses and open your textbooks, because it's time for a demonic anatomy lesson. The anatomy of the demon back is, for lack of a better word, fucked. No amount of special training or dieting is going to rearrange the muscles of your back in such a way that it looks like the face of a demon. But what you can do in real life is build a back with such incredible width, thickness, and density that it'll strike fear into the hearts of your enemies and make all the girls want to train your pee-pee, just like the demon back does in the anime and manga. There are a few select muscle groups that you're going to need to be focusing on developing if you want to build a truly massive demonic back. And it all starts with the latissimus dorsi, also known as the lats. They are the largest muscle group in your back, and they're responsible for that V-shaped appearance that many people want, along with adding width to your back. But they're there for a lot more than just making your upper body the shape of a Dorito. The lats are the powerhouse of your back, creating the power needed for big compound movements like pull-ups and bent over rows. But not only this, they also provide stability to your spine during deadlifts. The next muscle group that you want to develop is your traps. The trapezius, or the traps, are a large diamond-shaped muscle that runs from the base of your skull down to your mid-back. And when I say traps, many people are probably just thinking about the muscles up in your neck, but the traps are actually divided into 3 sections: the upper traps, middle traps, and lower traps. The upper traps are responsible for lifting your shoulders up towards your ears, a movement also known as shrugging. The middle traps pull your shoulder blades back and together towards your spine, and the lower traps pull your shoulder blades down and also assist with upwards rotation of the scapula. So different parts of the traps will be active depending on the angle you're hitting your back. Next, to add even more thickness to your back, you'll also want to hit your rhomboids, which are 2 small muscles that are located between your shoulder blades. Their primary job is to pull your shoulder blades together towards the spine, so these muscles are heavily active during most rowing exercises, where the focus is pulling your shoulder blades back and together. And finally, to really build a back Baki would be proud of, you'll want to work the muscles that extend and stabilize your lower back, called the erector spinae. The erector spinae is a group of muscles that run vertically along your spine, from your pelvis all the way up to your skull. Their primary job is to extend your spine, bringing your torso upright from a bent position, but they also help to stabilize your spine during lifting movements like deadlifts and bent over rows. Now, seeing as each of these muscle groups are responsible for powering different movements, you're going to need to do a variety of different exercises to effectively develop each one of these muscle groups. Here are the most important ones that we'll be using in the Demon Back program that I'll be giving to you for free at the end of the video. Vertical pulling movements like pull-ups, lat pull-downs, and single-arm lat pull-downs will be used to develop the lats. Horizontal pulling movements like cable rows, single-arm rows, and face pulls will be used for the lower traps and rhomboids. Spinal erector focus movements like deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, and back extensions will be for the erector spinae. And finally, isolation exercises that can specifically target certain muscle groups like straight arm pull downs for the lats, reverse flies for the posterior delts and the rhomboids, shrugs for the upper traps, and dumbbell pullovers for the lats. If you guys are liking the Baki related fitness content and want me to do a video on how Yujiro Hanma would train in real life next, leave a like, subscribe, and comment Baki's dad down below. So now you know what movements you need to be doing. But how do you actually fit all these exercises into a workout program that prioritizes building your back while also working the rest of your body? Because I'm assuming you don't just want to become a human version of a Ninja Turtle that has a giant shell of a back and absolutely nothing else to speak of. But hey, maybe you do, in which case it's a little weird, but let me know down in the comments. To explain how to do that, I first have to explain the basics of bodybuilding. When boiled down to its simplest form, bodybuilding is all about doing as much hard training volume as you can recover and adapt from in the 6 to 30 rep range. and hard training refers to any sets that are done within 3 to 0 reps of failure. So each muscle group only has a certain amount of hard training volume that it can actually recover and beneficially adapt from each week, and that number is represented on this chart as MAV. MAV stands for maximum adaptive volume, and this is the maximum amount of sets that you can do per week and actually benefit from in a muscle building sense. Now, while each muscle group has an upper limit to how much training volume it can actually benefit from each week, so does your entire body as a system. And this number is referred to as your systemic maximum recoverable volume, aka the total amount of volume your body can actually recover from each week. And this is important because if we want to build an insanely impressive back, we're going to need to do as much hard back training volume as possible, using movements with a high raw stimulus magnitude, like conventional deadlifts, bent over rows, and pull-ups. These are movements that provide a ton of strength and muscle building stimulus, but along with all that stimulus comes a high amount of fatigue to your whole system, so they take a while to recover from. Since we want to be training our backs as hard and as often as possible, we're going to need to design a program that prioritizes back development and makes room for all that hard training volume by slightly decreasing the amount of hard training volume we're going to be doing on other muscle groups. Since that might be confusing, you can think about it this way. Let's say our whole body as a system has 100 weekly health points, which represent the amount of energy it has. If we're training all of our muscle groups evenly, we'd be spending 25 HP on each of chest, back, legs, and this last one will be one group, shoulders and arms. But now if you want to build a massive juicy demon back, we're going to have to increase our back training volume, which will lead to more systemic fatigue from all that hard training. So now our back training will start to take up 35 health points each week. And since we only have 100 health points each week to spend, we need to reduce our training volumes on other muscle groups to make room for our extra back training. Hope that helps clarify things, but if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments and I'll get back to you. In addition to making room for all this extra volume, we'll also want to prioritize training our backs at the start of training sessions, because that's when we're going to be the most fresh. And if possible, also putting our hardest back training days right after our rest days during the week. This will ensure that we're hitting our back with the highest quality training volume possible, leading to better gains. Of course, you'll also need to progressively make your training harder if you really want to grow. And the best way to do this from a bodybuilding context is to add volume and intensity across your 6 to 8 week training cycle. And don't worry, I know this is sounding like a lot, but I've taken all these guidelines and worked them into the 8-week Demon Back training program that you'll be getting at the end of the video to make it easy for you. Now, while this video is about building a Baki-worthy back, you can take these guidelines on how to prioritize your back training and apply them to really any other muscle group in your body. Now, of course, while you're following this back prioritized training plan, you're going to want to be in a calorie surplus, meaning that you're eating more calories than you're burning each day. So you have extra fuel kicking around that can be turned into back meat. I recommend tracking your diet and eating in a 250 to 500 calorie surplus each day. More if you're newer to lifting, and less if you've been seriously lifting for 3+ years. And by far the best way to do this is by using MacroFactor. With a verified food database, fast login workflows, and science-based recommendations tailored to your goals and preferences, MacroFactor is the best science-based app for tracking your macros. And thanks to its dynamic expenditure tracking and super interesting data insights, it'll always keep you on track and make sure that you're never plateauing. I've been using MacroFactor for months now, and I've been seeing some amazing results. So if you want to start seeing some amazing results, go ahead and download MacroFactor with the link in the description of this video, and then get your first 2 weeks free by using affiliate code DEMERCE. Now back to the video. So a calorie surplus will be necessary to build up your back. But once you've gotten big enough, you'll want to cut down so you can see all the muscular details of your back. This is how you're really going to get as close to that demon back look as possible. Because you know what they say, the devil is in the details. To do this, you'll simply go into a 250 to 500 calorie deficit per day until you've lost the extra fat covering your back. So now it's time to use the link down below to download your 8-week Baki Demon Back training program, 100% for free. All I ask in return is that you leave a like and a comment on this video so I know that you guys are liking it and want to see more. Keep in mind that this Demon Back training program is pretty advanced, so if you're new to fitness, I'd recommend checking out my 17-week Superhero Body Origins at-home training plan first. Link also down below. Now go watch my video on how Baki's training methodology will make you rich and get you ripped, and I'll see you there.